You always say it's the quality and not the quantity. So I take it as a good sign that we have the movers and shakers and specialists in the financial industry who are present here and make the most. It's not about the numbers, it's about what comes out of every networking and every important session. We should begin my lines very shortly with a gentle reminder for the photographers, for the audience, the IBMC staff, and the hospitality team to kindly keep your phones on silent mode.
Also.
Okay, are we ready to roll?
But there's also one of the other
Oh, you're talking?
Can you speak? Can you check?
Testing. Check. 1, 2, testing.
Once again?
Testing. 1, 2, testing. Lights, action. Testing.
One more?
Testing. Check. 3, 2, 1, check. Check. I will give formal instructions to start, so thank you once again in Banti for your patience. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the IBMC Financial Professionals Group, I welcome you all to the UAE-India Business Fest concluding seminar in Abu Dhabi. Today's session will focus on workshops and seminars aimed at inward investments in Abu Dhabi according to key sectors. The IBMC and the UAE, through the 10-month-long business fest, made a historic financial success story between the respective nations of the United Arab Emirates and India. A $2 billion feeder fund was launched and formalized at the Abu Dhabi Global Market only yesterday, about 24 hours ago. Join me in a round of applause for this historic financial success story. With several bilateral treaties signed earlier this year, including the UAE-India Infrastructure Investment Fund, targeted at $75 billion, the UAE is already a promising partner with India, with total investments amounting to $8 billion at least. Against this backdrop, the first of its kind non-oil sector business and investment plan was launched by the IBMC Financial Professionals Group on the 20th of March this year across all 7 Emirates. It has never been done before, and it will never be done before, but it has laid a roadmap for more success stories, more investments, more growth in non-oil sectors. This 10-month-long sector-wise diligent roadshow has been successfully presented by the IBMC Group. It is mainly due to the leadership of His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Ahmed Al Hamid, Chairman of IBMC, conceptualized by Mr. Sajid Kumar, the CEO and MD of the group, as well as the tireless efforts of Mr. Anup P.S., the Chief Business Officer and Executive Director of the IBMC Global Networks. In a very short span of time, the IBMC Group of financial professionals has become an internationally recognized, trusted financial services gateway for global investors. What more could we ask for? Focus areas are international investment and consultancy, international business training and education, international law and compliance, tax and audit, and business consultancy, all of which culminate as a one-stop shop service provider to global stakeholders. FDIs, FIIs, QFBIs grabbed headlines within the IBMC group. Over the past few months, since the official launch in March at the Armani Hotel in Dubai, the IBMC financial wizards have spearheaded a series of seminars and B2B meetings with unstoppable energy and success unlimited.
I cannot amplify.
Why?
As mentioned earlier in my speech, the next Orbit Venture Fund is aimed to boost the electronic and semiconductor ecosystem, and it has already proved testimony to the various proactive initiatives of the UAE-India Business Fest.
This is the maximum.
Likewise, in May earlier this year, IBMC also initiated a dedicated SME exchange with the support of the Start-up Stock Exchange of the Netherlands, solely aimed to drive the SME industry and its funding to the next glorious heights of financial growth. SMEs today play a very important part. Unfortunately or fortunately, financial institutions and banks have seemed to undermine their importance as economic growth. It is the only way to move forward. Big companies are heading into various challenging positions, and SMEs are a promising future. So I urge each and every one of you here, whether you come from tax, audit, compliance, please drive the SME industry to the next level, because that's where the youth are positioned to drive economies as future citizens. We are indeed privileged and honored to be here in the Emirates Palace of Abu Dhabi at the last leg of the Business Fest, the concluding seminars. Please explore various sectoral opportunities for long-term success. Do make sure of networking opportunities. We do have an intelligent panel, and I'm sure the audience and attendance will pick up over the course of the next few hours. In the evening, we will have several announcements and special awards, namely the UAE-India Business Ambassador Award and the UAE-India Business Excellence Award, both of which are meant to inspire and lead the next generation, including ourselves. I leave you with food for thought. There is a lineup of professional speakers. I am just a humble, passionate lady interested in financial services. India is home to me. UAE is second home to me. America is where I educated myself, and I hope to make a positive difference. I'm Neti Maddock. Welcome aboard. We will now officially open this morning with Mr. Sajid Kumar's opening remarks as the CEO and MD of the IBMC Global Networks. But in the meanwhile, please stay tuned. I'd like to highlight some of his previous successes. Mr. Sajid Kumar has had more than 20 years' experience in the global financial service sector, where he has held positions with major stock exchanges, financial institutions, financial brokerage houses, and financial intermediaries globally. He is the brainchild to set up the IBMC Professional Group in 2010 by creating 4 pillars of strategy: international financial education, international tax and audit, international legal and compliance, and international investments through the IBMC Group. As I said earlier, a one-stop shop. Along with His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Ahmed Al Hamid, they initiated the CSR concept, such as the UAE-India Business Portal, the UAE-India Business Center, and also the UAE-India Business Fest, to build more business relationships and opportunities in all major sectors across various business classes, supported by the government, aimed for PPPs of both countries. After meeting the compliance requirements of India and the UAE, which was a very tedious task, Mr. Sajid Kumar had taken the initiative to open the first qualified foreign investor account to India in the name of the UAE National Investor. QFI India's new initiative started in 2013, allowing foreign nationals to invest to India, and now it is named as the Foreign Portfolio Investor FPI. I will now invite Mr. Sajid Kumar to come forward. He is also on the Executive Advisory Board of the CEO Clubs, which spans across 22 countries and has elite CEOs as their members. We could not do without his genius, so Mr. Sajid Kumar, please come forward and officially open the concluding seminar of the UAE-India Business Fest. A round of applause, please. Keep up the energy. Thank you.
Thanks, Niti. Your Excellencies, special guests of the day, our speakers for the day, ladies and gentlemen, today this is the 7th program. UAE-India Business Festival is going to conclude today by witnessing a lot of other sessions, workshops, and honoring dignitaries by giving away of UAE-India Business Ambassador and UAE-India Business Excellencies Award. After concluding this program, we know that we were supporting for non-oil sector diversification programs of UAE, and also giving the opportunities where back in India, we know that the BSE is having more than 6,000 companies from 36 sectors. So definitely India can able to contribute more into that non-oil sectors. I hope that you all will utilize, enter this program of UAE-India Business First.
One or two. No? What is the input here? One or
And inviting all of you to this concluding ceremony and our 7th program of UAE-India Business First 2017. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sajid Kumar. I think you've done this across all the 7 Emirates, so your speech was very concise and to the point. I'm sure we will have you once again at the time of the awards ceremony. Let's move on to welcome Mr. Anu PS, who doesn't need a formal introduction, but please, it would be our honor to have him up on stage. He is the CBO and Executive Director of the IBMC International Group, Global Networks, to say it specifically. Mr. Anu PS is an MBA University first rank holder with specialization in finance and marketing, with more than 14 years managerial experience in business development, investment management, risk management, compliance, project management, financial training and education across UAE, India and Qatar. Mr. Anu went on to head IBMC Financial Professions Group, where he's actively involved in the strategic planning and positioning of the brand, in addition to driving the marketing, sales, investment management and compliance functions. Mr. Anu has conducted over 400 training sessions in the UAE and India on various topics related to investment management. He is currently operating as the Chief Business Officer and Executive Director of the group. He was part of building up a new business model in financial services in the Emirates, which ultimately resulted in achieving the highest national recognition in the United Arab Emirates for his company. He has also been involved with numerous CSR initiatives with the organization that he has been associated with, and is also a guest lecturer for management colleges in India. He will be moderating some panel discussions later on during the course of the session. But join me now to welcome Mr. Anu PS. A round of applause. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome once again to IBMC UAE-India Business Fest, the concluding ceremony in Abu Dhabi. Let me keep it short and simple because we have to come to the actual presentations. We have the presenters available here and our guests are, I request our other guests also to be kindly before the stage. IBMC UAE-India Business Fest, we started in the month of March with the first program in Burj Khalifa, Armani, and after that we moved on to Sharjah with Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, then in Ajman with the Ajman Palace, the Numal Coin, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, and now we are in the 7th Emirate, Abu Dhabi. Now, if you look back, the kind of operations what we are doing is that we were calling the industry experts from India as well as UAE, and we were giving specific focus to the experts from that particular emirate to identify the exact potential what the emirate has to offer. Normally, the programs used to come either in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi, but normal other emirates, much importance was not given. But in IBMC's Business Fest, we made it a point that we'll be conducting this first in all the emirates. Then we will come to know exactly what each emirate has to offer. And to our great surprise, we came to know that a lot of offer which each emirate has to offer, and we're very happy to receive us. And we got a very encouraging support and offer from many of the free zone authorities, even the government bodies and economic departments, and they were really helpful in offering the business benefit, and they're very eager to cooperate with IBMC in developing the business relations between India and UAE. So with that particular note, we are now today in the concluding ceremony, and today we'll be also announcing the UAE-India Business Excellency Awards as well as the UAE-India Business Ambassador Awards in this session. And normally, in all our sessions, what we do is that whatever presentations we'll be doing it here, we'll be having a separate opportunity to directly discuss with the presenters in the separate UAE B2B business launch available here. So that is another speciality of IBMC events, and the majority of the opportunities that can be taken after the event. It is not only this particular event, because this event is live telecasted in YouTube, which will be watched by a lot of professionals and experts. And in UAE and in India, what we identified is that the industry experts, they will not be getting time to sit complete day and watch the whole thing. That's why it is live telecasted in YouTube, so that each topic and information is already informed to them in advance, and whenever they're getting time, they can go back to YouTube. All the sessions which we have covered in all the 7 emirates, it's all available in our YouTube channel, IBMC Media, which is live, currently live is going on. So this is a reference. In future, like each emirate, the opportunity, if you want to go back and search what each industry expert has to say, that also can be taken from the previous IBMC YouTube records as well. So that gives another potential that whenever somebody has a query or doubt about the particular emirate's offering or any of the topics, they can go back and refer, and they can contact IBMC. And each presenters who are doing it in Abu Dhabi today, and all the presenters who has already done it in our previous emirates, any particular query, it is coming later stage, it will be coming directly to IBMC, and IBMC will act as a single contact point to take it forward. Then only the actual business realization will happen. Otherwise, what will happen is that we just discuss, we go back and we are forgetting the things. But here, we will act as a coordinating point, and we will make sure that the real business is getting materialized. And I don't want to take it long. We have the expert presenters available here, the industry experts are available here. Once again, we welcome you all to IBMC's UAE Business Fest concluding ceremony in Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much. Welcome once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ranoop. We will now speakers. Mr. Adnan Mohammed bin Abdullah. The modern trend of digitalized education and its advantages for the UAE. Mr. Adnan Mohammed bin Abdullah, he is the Managing Director of Etekan and Bahanes UAE. Thank you, Mr. Ranoop. We will now speakers. Mr. Adnan Mohammed bin Abdullah. He is the Managing Director of Etekan and Bahanes UAE. Thank you, Mr. Ranoop. We will now speakers. Mr. Adnan Mohammed bin Abdullah. He is the Managing Director of Etekan and Bahanes UAE. a few lines about his accomplishments and who he is. Adnan, who is he? He believes that everyone's lifestyle is interrelated of how much literacy and knowledge they have, as he is a strong believer that learning is from the cradle to the grave. He is a sole entrepreneur and the founder of Etikan International, an educational research and development firm, as well as Bahanas General Trading. Adnan's education aspect continued to be a lecturer for Dubai employees, certified by Dubai Human Resources Department. His objectives became more realistic and valuable, believing that literacy is the path to nation development. He has received his 2 master's degree in quality management from Wollongong University in Dubai and in business administration from Columbus University in the United States. He is mainly working in business development consultation for smart technologies and smart education using augmented and virtual reality and IoT. With the Dubai Expo 2020, I'm sure Adnan is a very intellectual and resourceful person to have, and I invite him forward to the stage to tell us more about his aspirations and his company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is this working? Can you hear me? Is it clear? I have to speak for me. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I will use my slides, but I prefer to speak clearly without the slides. It's okay without the slides. First of all, I would like really to bless IBMC for being persistent in having and holding UAE and India Fest in the 7 Emirates. And I've been there from the day one, and I had the honor to stand in every and each session and speak about the opportunities in different sectors. One of them is the technology sectors, which I'm going to speak about today, and the other sector is the organic and agriculture sector, which I have also spoken in different. So mainly, we as Emirate entrepreneurs in UAE, we always seek to put our hands with our fellow entrepreneurs and business people from India. It's been long, very long, between UAE and India.
So, what we are looking for, actually, the outcome of these sessions is to seriously have a good business relation with our partners back in India. Here also in UAE, we have them here, or also we go and visit with them out there back in India. And today I'm going to speak again about the modern trend of digitized education in IT and using the technology in education. We all know that today we have technology controlling most of our life. First of all is the database. The database is where we have these platforms. It contains most of the database where we go and search to find out the information.
So this information is like an educational platform for us to understand certain information from different area of learning. But the future is promising. The future is promising and is challenging. We are having actually, we start to see some new experiments happening to implement the new technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality. And we do invest in these technologies in the education sector. Since we want to make it as a fundamental tool to be used to educate the next generation. So it's not changing. So in the education we have we do have different layers of education. We have the schools, we have the parents, we have the kids. So the schools will provide the facilities, provide the environment, the teachers, the equipment. The parents choose for their kids type of educational platform, type of the quality of the education, the information, the specialities, and the students, they are the receivers. They are the learners. They are the people that we educate. At the end of the day, the outcome will be out of these kids. So, how should we enhance or put our hands to make this platform or to have in hand with the educational tools to come up with a good result, a good outcome for the future? Now, talking about the technologies in education. Technology will help, of course. Technology helps so many things nowadays. Today we find all the information, the educational tools all over the internet platforms. There's like special platform for education with all the information that there. Is like educational platform where they provide certain subjects in different curriculum. So reaching to the information, to the educational information, that's today is very easy. It's easy to get there, and it's affordable. And this is the most important part. This is affordable. Everyone can get it. Everyone can get different information for very cost-effective prices. So that's just not to be there anymore. That's just be difficult to first reach the information. It might not be in the hands, or to buy the books or buy the information from the sources. Today, like, it's much easier, much faster, and that is how technology helps the education. The modern education will change also the aspirations of citizenship. Of course, they will be motivating more. they will be able to reach it, as you mentioned, very fast and be the quick learner. Now, learning different, as you mentioned, learning different things from the by using technology is even also an opportunity for entrepreneurship. Learning how to do business, learning how to invest, learning how to get financial help. So, whatever that we can imagine in our mind, that we can get over the internet. But now there's different sources in the internet. There's trustable sources, there's limited sources. Yet, yes, it is reachable, cost effective, yet it's not much control there. So it's our responsibility to create a platform which we provide this information in a good manner, the cost-effective prices for the audience. Even we can give it even for the community for free as well in some of the areas. So here's some of the objectives of the digital education. I'm not going to go through the points here, but imagining how will the quality of the information will be, the educational tools, educational information. We need to make sure whenever that we create these platforms or educational tools that we have the right information, the correct one. So that will give us a quality information and educational platform. There's like schools. There's like online schools where you go online and you attend the classes, and then you will be like finishing like classes. The universities, some of the universities, that this concept is coming like for the last 5 years. I mean, from 5 to 7 years ago, this concept started here in UAE. We have the Smart University, Sheikh Hamdan bin Hamad Smart University. It's an online university. I'm talking about this one in UAE. Now, this is the certified one, where you can get your certified attested certification from by the government and the university. And so, as an important even aspect in the education. Today, if you tell someone, okay, you go and study online, they might go and study online and get certified and graduate, but still it's not attested here in the country. Why? Because there's certain way and process to do that. So we need to enhance this part by providing the full picture of the online learning or the educational technology tool, which will be also attested by the Ministry of Government. Yeah, what we want also to do to have an effective plan for the education, we also look at the improving platforms more and more. Because by technology, instantly you can always update, improve, check, audit, and that. It's like you can create a platform where it's also interactive with teachers, interactive with parents, and children. So you have the interactivity there. So we have the accessibility. the more clarity, the visibility is there. So technology is helping so much in developing and improving the education part. Now, the most important thing which I will emphasize is the what kind of technology that we're looking for. What actually we are working on right now in terms of research and development, and in terms of developing a solution for different sectors in UAE. Using the technologies of augmented reality, it is the 3D concept of enhancing the box, okay, with a 3D concept, animated 3D object. For example, like we have a biology book, and then there is a page with we have the cell chapter. Then on that page, the cell can be designed in 3D, then with animation, with information, and then the tablets or mobiles or as Microsoft glasses can be as a hardware tool to augment the objects out of the book. By using this 3D, now this is the new concept of technology, using 3D concept, interactive 3D concept with the information for the learning purpose. Scientifically, it's been proved that it does affect the learners much more than if they go and read the book and understand from the book itself, because there's senses being interacted with, like, you know, the images goes to the eyes, and the sounds and goes to the air. So it's a full, by using an augmented reality and also the virtual reality, it's a full, like, it's a full environment. Like, you're keeping a student within the live stream subject, where they can go and experience whatever the book out of to their class, and that is a different outcome from their understanding. They can easily get that information. So these are the kind of technologies that today we are using it. We've come up with for kids some augmented reality books where they can write and color the book and then learn out of it the alphabets. So there's so many things, and this kind of technology are like, now it starts to be known more in the market. Now around the world, most of the ministries of education, they start to look into how to harness these technologies to be beneficial for the students and for the education. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the future, the real future. Technology will be really, let's say, invading the human life and everything. So a part of that, the education part, is very important part, because that part is the key of controlling how we want to transfer the information to the next generation and to be beneficial, and they can use it for a good thing. So artificial intelligence, today we see the robotics, they are coming into the market. The Japanese, we saw last time in Saudi Arabia, they have by Sophia as a robotic, cognitive robotic, that they can speak and reply, they can understand and reply. So this is a part. The artificial intelligence is all about like the hardware and the software, the coding and the hardware itself. Within the artificial intelligence, the augmented and virtual reality can be used. And this is what is the research and development they are doing right now to put all these technologies together to come up with a solution for of course, they are using for different purposes. But if we're talking about the education part, then it is the most important part that we need to enhance these technologies and to create this concept with education for the next generation. So that is a very important part. Then we go to the below the parts of the technologies. Then if we talk about the game-based learning, it's also a concept where games being created as an educational platform where the kids goes and the students goes and play in purpose of learning. It's not play in purpose because that's scientifically also approved. Whenever they get within this happy environment and they are excited, they learn fast. So today, most of the kids, they are using their smart devices to play. Then why not we give them something that they can play with and learn at the same time? So this is what we also do. 3D printing. 3D printing now it's in everywhere. 3D printing is now coming, and there's heavily investment happening in 3D printing now in UAE. 2 years ago, they have announced the plan of 2020 that houses in UAE will be printed with 3D printers. So the house can be built in 2 to 3 weeks, and in 1 month you can just move in. And imagine how we spend like a year or a year and a half to build a small house with all construction costs and things, and now you have it within 1 month. You are already there and living in. So that is it. Now also 3D printing in health sector. They already started to print the organs of the people, ears, nose, fingers, for people who lost their hands or fingers with a 3D printers with the materials that almost similar to the skin, but of course not as same as the skin. But eventually they have the hand, they have the ears, and they have tested it. They have tried this on some of people who I saw a video there. There was a man who was born without an ear. And they fixed an ear for him as they fixed it just because he wanted. He was a volunteer and they wanted to test it, and then it worked. They could fix the ear there, and that ear was printed. So imagine their now is much easier than the body parts. Cloud computing also until date we have these big rooms. If you go to the big IT companies, you find the big rooms for the servers, and they just sitting on the server. This server has all the information, the network and things. Nowadays we have the cloud. The cloud will do the same purpose, the same job of the servers and computers, which occupy the places and more cost. So this will cut the cost. So imagine that we have information, our database, wherever that we go, for the companies, for schools, for wherever that you are, means that we will not necessarily need to sit in one place to learn or to do a business, or means that we can do it wherever and whenever that we need. online social network and biometrics also for the eye tracking. Both are within the technology that we're using for security, and that we use also the social media for marketing and business as well. So all these are the technology that is shaping the education today. These technologies that will be the frame of the technology of the education. That's what we need to invest. That's what we are doing currently, and that's what we are looking to invest more in, to have our partners from India with us to invest in all these kind of technologies in education and also in other sectors. So mainly this is the ecosystem of the future education, that all of these shareholders or the whole ecosystem, the whole system of the education will be including all these kind of technologies, and it is very interesting, and it is very huge and challenging, and every day we find out a new thing is coming up, and every day we have more clarity of where we are going for the future. And these are thank you very much. I hope thank you.
Mr. Adnan Mohammed bin Abdullah, it really shows that you have delved at least 20 years in the subject matter of information technology, artificial intelligence, and beyond. I think your presentation was very spot on, and I'm sure you will be a value added to the UAE-India business synergy in this field. Before that, now may I invite Mr. Sajid Kumar for a quick Q&A, and then we will appreciate your time with a token of appreciation. So let's have a couple of questions.
No, it was a great presentation, and as you said that in future people will not go to the school or college for studies or universities.
Yeah.
Similar way, what we are also insisting that the officials, our business class, to watch this session at their place itself across the globe. But the authenticity, that's what the academic, the courses are coming up. Where you see that the scope for that, how the government is going to approve. Hamdan University, that smart university already started.
Yeah.
But on the other side, the private universities, where do you see that the scope?
I'm sure they see once it's started. I'm sure the private universities will be able to implement this. Now, we have seen couple of private universities. We're trying to implement a part of the online learning that is aligned with the Ministry of Higher Education, to implement that. But within the coming years, from 5 to 7 years, this will be implemented more. The people will be sitting at home and getting the classes and be certified.
Are you expecting a new regulations or
laws for? Yeah, the regulation actually is some of the regulation are there, and but yet it's to be physically on the ground with the universities implemented there. For them, it's time and cost, just matter of time and cost, and then within this time they will be implemented.
Yeah, we are discussing more into UAE-India business opportunities. So for private sector players, especially they are very well set back in India, and comparing that the cost of IT infrastructure, it's also lesser than comparing to UAE. Yeah. So such business players, if they are coming from India, so where do you see that scope for them setting up all IT over there and coming here and just complying all the
Yeah, I mean,
regulations?
see, the schools, the concept of the university and the schools will be, they will be virtual schools. They will have the tool operates everything, wherever is the tool is. It's like what we mentioned. There will be like a platform, and the database will be on the cloud, and there will be like a virtual teacher, and there will be a teacher, a real teacher behind like they might sit back there in India and give the lecture here for particular times, but that will be like imagine that there's like 2 people managing in a whole university. That's like to that level. But the teacher would be needed like in different subjects and specialization. And so, yeah, I mean, it can be set up in India and being like giving here and certified.
Great. So IBMC UAE India Business Fest 2017 is also showcasing the business opportunities in education, that online education, where India business people can able to set their own way at India and coming here to just to comply the regulations and running these shows. And here UAE business people are also ready, like Adnan is also ready to support India business class to come down here and this enabling these opportunities. Thank you so much, Mr. Adnan. It was nice presentation. And definitely, if people are coming from India, you can able to support them.
Of course, yes. We are here to support the Indian the educational sector. We will be like the open door for them to the market.
Excellent. That's a great opportunity where we can able to shop.
The IBMC Financial Professionals Group would now like to honor Mr. Adnan for his insights.
Adnan is a part of IBMC only, so there is no formality at all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's press on. We will now have our next presentation on digital transformation, the biggest shift in human society, presented by Mr. Gopakumar Pillai, CEO and MD of SBL Corporation, India. A few words about his successes. On a similar line, must I say, with technology, I hope you all can shake hands and take the business to greater heights. Mr. P. Gopakumar, the CEO of SBL, is the energetic entrepreneur and designer of SBL. He brings in vital executive level of network and experience from the industries he served, potentially branching into the BPO, IT sectors, and subsequently into the GIS and software industry. With over 20 years of rich experience in executing turnkey projects, he accrues significant contact and customer list at the senior levels of leading technology companies in international business. Gopakumar is a diligent and dedicated CEO with expertise in steering the organization to success, building teams of dedicated managers and employees, and providing an atmosphere of support and inspiration. He has excellent expertise in developing and implementing strategic plans and initiatives for SBL, leading to organizational improvement. None but not the least, he holds an engineering degree along with postgraduate diploma in business management. Must I add, through my own little research a few minutes ago, I think his company has a lot to do with the King's Cross railway station and several mining projects in Congo, in other worldwide dare to go ventures, and I would congratulate Mr. Gopakumar as an Indian to an Indian in the UAE for his creative energies and his success stories, in a topic that mostly we would consider boring in IT, but no, he's got a creative flair to it. So please come aboard, Mr. Gopakumar, and a round of applause. Thank you.
So good afternoon to all. Thank you very much, Sajid, for giving an opportunity to be today for this. So sorry for the interruption. Good afternoon, all. Thank you, Said, for giving me an opportunity for this session today. As introduced, I'm Gomar, CEO for SBL, Knowledge Service Limited. We are primarily into technology solutions and services. I'm proud to be here because I'm presenting a topic of digital transformation. Digital transformation is associated with the changes with the technology, particularly digital technology, which changes or enhances human societies in terms of social growth and economical benefits. There's no business is going to be left behind which is going to be untouched by digital transformation. You could see digital disruptions which has caused some of the businesses extinct or eliminated in the past. SBL has proud partner in implementing world first digital legislative house we call e-Parliament or e-Vidhan in India. It was a World Bank funded project. India has been selected being the largest democracy, and we have implemented in 2014, and it's running successfully. So I'll give you some insights into digital transformation before I share my experience and challenges I have faced or we have faced in implementing e-Parliament in India. The topic covers the speed of transformation, the digital disruption, few examples, which all we know, impacts of digital disruptions, layers of digital transformation, which is applicable to any industry, any organizations. It's just a matter of time. If you cannot embrace this or conceive this idea, business is going to be extinct because you don't know an unseen threat or invisible competitor is going to be eliminating your business, not within the industry, within the technological sides. And growth comparison, how a technology companies are compared to other industries or business in terms of raising the funds. And digital transformation in law-making body, which SPL on the patent and copyright throughout the world. So the speed of transformation, which I spoke when we all say that master of all invention is inventing the fire. 6,000 years back, when the fire was invented, it has changed real transformation of the human being. The early humans, they used to live like animals. The fire has changed their life. The second largest invention is digital information, that is the digital transformation, which is happening now. How quick, how fast is happening is beyond our control. Analog to digital, you can see the graph itself. It says, when analog to digital, it was a reasonably good pace. From digital age, whereby we started doing coding and computing and thinking applications. Thereafter, we went to information age, called internet age, where we are able to communicate throughout the world within few seconds. That has eliminated the conventional postal service writing letters. It has eliminated by then. Then moving towards social media age, you all know that. Even socializing with the people, we could be able to connect our old friends. We can share our experience, our images, videos through social media. Social media have a biggest role in business too. We promote or market our product and services. We communicate with the customers. We also get the feedback, suggestion, commitment, loyalty with the customers through social media age. Politics, you know that. Smart politicians have conceived this idea and they benefit out of that. In social revolution, you all know that, the Arab Spring, which has changed the revolution the people's side. So social media age, which has really started working magic into the business. And smartphone age, you know, every new application is coming. Other day, whether it's a hotel booking or healthcare, or as such, everything is in your fingertip. So digital transformation, you could see that how much of the business has been lost because of this. So it's happening with a rocket speed, and those who cannot live or adapt on that, certainly there will be a big threat from the technology. I'll go to the few of the digital disruption examples, the driverless cars. It is certain that within the next 10 years, our road will be run by driverless cars. Almost all vehicle manufacturers are trying to invest on driverless cars. UK government has invested to have driverless transport system on road. Google had test driven almost 200,000 kilometers in California. So we all know that the most of the road accident happen, the 90% of the road accident happens because of the errors or mistakes from the drivers, whether it's a dosing on the wheel or drinking and driving, or any reason like that, or attending a mobile phone, or sending a message during the driving. But this smart solution certainly going to obey all the traffic rules. They're certainly going to have a combination between the human drivers and driverless cars. So it is certain, actually, that this kind of technology and digital transformation are moving to all the businesses. The banking and finance segment, John Screan says that within the next 10 years, the cash will go disappear from the economy. There are many countries, Sweden for that case, they have already made 70% of the cash into digital transactions. US has implemented tax for cash transactions. It's just a matter of time. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, says that the next generation kids, we have to show them pictures about what cashes we are using. The cash is going to be eliminated from the society. That's the biggest shift for the human society. I hope you are all aware of the lending bank. When 9 years back, Renault, an ex-Oracle manager, started a concept of lending bank by limiting or cutting down the role of bank as a middleman and facilitating the peer-to-peer transactions between lender and borrower. So that time back with an attractive rates for both of the sides. That time, the people were just laughing at him. It cannot be possible because no lender or borrower is going to trust an individual or an online stuff like that. Today, after 9 years, they had made 31 billion loan to the almost 1.5 billion populations. So this is the reason I'm telling that the technology transformation, digital disruption is happening just our next door. It will eliminate the entire concept of doing business. Uber, you know that, what is the people experience? Normally, to get a taxi, we have to either go to taxi stands, or you have to give hand signals. Now the experience has changed. You stay where you want. By having a mobile application, you need to bring the taxi to your end. It has changed completely. These are the waves of disruption happened particular years. 1995 to 2010, you can see now where we are standing on 2015, where almost all the industries, whether it's healthcare, automotive, education, all has been going to be digitally transformed. As I told you earlier, the biggest risk or threat is not from your competitors, from an outsider, from a technology company, where startups. For that case, it's going to change your business. You know, when Steve Jobs introduced first iPhone with an audience of mobile manufacturers that time, they are stunned down. They had never been imagined such a smartphone. Today, you know that Motorola and Nokia all are extinct. Similarly, if you see most of such businesses, that digital disruption has changed the world. There are 7 layers of digital transformation for any organization could look at that. Besides infrastructure, a thought leadership who understand the importance, create digital people, data scientists, to make sure that they understand the customer experience by creating a proper business model. Obviously, a culture which is primarily based on better customer experience. Technology and business model are here to change. So if you see a comparison of funding for different verticals, you could easily understand. The Prada, the 100-year-old Italian fashion retailer, took almost 80 years to raise a fund of $1 billion. Whereas Instacart, an online shopping cart, to find your grocery to be delivered in just 24 hours to your house, raised $1 billion in a year time. That's the changes happening in the market and industry. The startup with no capital, but thought process or digital knowledge has been changed the world. So now I come back to my core area. I don't know that how much relevant to this audience, but the importance is that the most unattended area in India was lawmaking. We follow 100-year-old Westminster rules and practices in our legislative house and parliaments. When we approached first for an e-parliament concept, the answer was, you know that, a big no. But continuously, we've given model. Contacted many honorable speakers and agencies like that. Then they conceived the idea. Ultimately, our journey of e-parliament started with Kerala for developing a small model called Digital Archival Managed Solutions. Kerala having a democratic history of over 60, 70 years. So our concept was, our role was to digitize in their house proceedings and make them available to the honorable members. That went successful. Then we started thinking about disruptive technologies. How we can digitally transform, how can we automate the entire workflow of a legislative house. So eventually we got an opportunity. As I told you, it was a World Bank funded project under Department of Electronic Information Technology. They are seeing our one model. The model was how a member of an assembly or a parliament should interact with the house. They currently use a lot of papers. Communication is mostly in the papers. We create an e-book-like concept that naturally got accepted, but obviously there are a lot of challenges. The people went on strike. They don't attend. The particular reason that the parliament, the lawmaking body, functions hardly 90 to 120 days in a year. The cost of lawmaking is so high at the public exchequer that they can afford even a 1 second downtime. So this e-parliament solution has digitally transformed the basic concept of manual processes. The conventional processes, the redundant process has been already identified, it's changed. It also addressed the requirement of all the stakeholders. The facts, when you talk about the legislative house and parliaments, the entire process is manual. It was entire process manual because they use manual communication between the speaker to the members to their departments. Everything is manual. And as I told you, the cost of managing the house is so high, we use millions of dollars every year to manage the houses. So basically, the time, it was very difficult to manage the time, adhere with the house proceedings, house agenda. It was very difficult. Then a delayed process, basically, because each one work as a silo. You know how the red tape and bureaucracy work in India. So each one are difficult to or hesitant to share the information to next level. Then second, The third and largest concern was security. When you explore and expose technology into legislative houses, because the hackers, that they are ready for hacking all such vital information. How a network-enabled or a technology-enabled house is going to secure from the external threats. So again, though we select the legislative members and parliaments, at the same time, people have no role in the lawmaking process. So these are the facts at which a normal legislative house follows. As I told you, Westminster rules and practices are the same almost all the Commonwealth countries, whether it's India or in Rwanda or elsewhere. The challenges, as I told you, some of the MLAs, some of the members, honorable members, even doesn't know how to operate a phone. Even don't matter how they are technology competent, they don't know how to even operate a phone. That was the situation. And some of them very aged, 80 plus years old. How the technology is going to bring changes to them, it was so difficult. So we made an e-book concept whereby they'll be able to see or use exactly the same way what we are using in the house. Then technology interruption, as I told you, any outrage, power outrage of that context, or any downtime could eventually have a lot of implications on the lawmaking process. It can stall actually the entire process. So redundant and multiple level backup solution was one reason, because we have, even some other states, we are proposing a solar energy system. The security challenge I told you, when you expose very protocoled lawmaking body to public and media are also kind, naturally there's a security that can be happen. So we create an isolation system whereby each information is gone on a need-to-know basis and multiple level of logging procedure has been set there. This has all helped to convince the lawmakers to address these challenges. As I told, the 4th August 2014, we have implemented first e-Vidhan solution in India. It was a journey of almost 2 years, because it's not just implementing any ERP solution or that technology solution to an office. The challenge was it functioned only 2-3 years a month. The knowledge, it was with the lawmakers and the secretariats. To gain this knowledge, giving alternative suggestion, and making their acceptance and buy-in. The other challenge was the test phase. Normally for any other offices, we can do test phase in any environment. But in a legislative house or parliament, the test phase normally happen in a live environment. During live environment, any ditches, it can lead to a big issue. So the e-Vidhan solution is running since the last 3 years without a single failure. We have received highest civilian award for the government of Himachal Pradesh. Recently, Prime Minister Modi has selected this project as one of the mission mode project and decided to implement throughout India. They earmarked almost $200 million for this purpose. So the entire legislative bodies and parliament is going to be digitally transformed within the next couple of years. This e-Vidhan concept not only going to drive legislative houses or parliament, but it can go to further down to municipalities, the corporations, the panchayat, and similar rate of business entities where much complex process there. The benefits by implementing e-Vidhan solution in Himachal Pradesh, a state with 60-member assembly, was immense. We have saved a small forest by implementing e-Vidhan solution in Himachal Pradesh. Almost 10,000 trees has been saved from felling down for the paper. The efficiency has been improved almost 60%. better time management has been involved. Better people participation has been ensured. And Himachal Pradesh, a small state, has saved almost 3.38 million every year. When we implement throughout India, it's a billions of dollars saving from the public exchequer. So these are the disruptions, or digital disruption and technology transformations, which could bring even most unattended areas, most secure and risk areas, could be transformed into high-tech centers. These are the 17 modules we developed for that. You could see most of them are not relevant to our normal office functions, but some of them, document digitization archival, video archival management. So the entire gamut of a lawmaking process in a house, whether right from when the election commission announced the results and moving towards formation of the next government, next legislative term, session, e-Vidhan start functioning. Start from the taking oath of the MLAs, their communication, MLA, or MB funds utilization, then their pension, their HR, all such things is being included in this process. There is no such process or practices unattended, because it's a complete end-to-end solution. E-constituency management is a GIS-based one, whereby each member could know very closely monitor the development activities of his constituency, whether the development needs, whether healthcare requirements, whether the progress of a particular project running it, all are available in a mobile application too. So e-Vidhan, the stakeholders are speaker, the honorable members, the secretariat, government departments, public, as well as media persons. Public can send their feedback and suggestions for a particular bill. They can also ask for grievances and communicate with their MLAs or MBs using the solution. The media, they don't need to be part of the sessions. They can be sitting at their offices. They can see the bills passing, the activities happening in a house. Like Mumbai's parliament management, parliament chamber proceedings management, touchscreen-based member console, question and notice processing management, constituency management, bill processing, committees management, grants and budget management. All these elements are aligned with this e-parliamentary e-Vidhan solution. Benefits, it completely eliminates the usage of paper, saving millions of trees being cut down every year. Himachal Pradesh, as I told you, 10,000 trees has been saved every year, which is equivalent to an oxygen supply for 17,000 people every year. It's a green governance which change the dynamics of the business. Processes are optimized, better time management, better efficiency, and right information at right time. These are the advantages or benefits of digital transformation of, or the solution called e-parliamentary e-Vidhan. E-Vidhan or e-parliament can go well with almost all institutions where such business is happening. We're also receiving a lot of inquiries from different world. It's a huge transformation happened in a very orthodox segment. SPL also has a competence in virtual reality. We have a 60-member virtual reality studio back in Kochi, where we actively partner with certain Hollywood houses in California, Los Angeles, which create the real virtual experience whilst you being here, but you could see an experience is happening maybe miles away. Our GIS technology solutions, that's why Madam was celebrating about, we are instrumental in rebuilding of King Cross Station using our building information modeling techniques. So these are all from my end. So thank you very much for your opportunity. Thanks all. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Only one thing, whether e-board meeting can be conducted with your software?
Yeah, we have a solution called Smart Conference. The architecture is the same, whereby the audience, the presenters, so everything will be connected to a mobile.
Is it in India or anywhere regulated?
No, it's not regulated. It's a smart utilization of when you conduct such an event. You can have the presenters, participants, they can also view their feedback, suggestion, and rate them like that. Thank you.
Time for the honors.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you, Mr. P. Gopakumar. It is very, very interesting, your case study about the e-parliament, how you obviously got the platform to a very success-driven model that will be hopefully replicated with other governments to come. As we all know, the UAE Smart Government Initiative is also second to none. So I think we're in the right direction. And with Mr. Adnan Mohammed Abdullah and Mr. P. Gopakumar, I'm sure you'll have a lot to talk in common. So do feel free to take your personal aspirations in the business lounge or to a quieter place to talk real business. Wish you both all the very best. Let's press on. Now we have a very important start making the announcements. In the meanwhile, I think today technology is driving us not the way it should be. It should be zip, zap, zoom, but it's making us a bit lazy. That's the downside of technology, but we have to keep our brains up and running. Foreign investments to India, a special focus to FPI, foreign portfolio investment, the new regime. Very important. Mr. V. Hans Prakash, who is the Chief Business Officer of IL&FS Security Services Limited. A few words about his accomplishments. Mr. V. Hans Prakash is a dual master's in business management with 18 years of experience in capital market and financial services. He is currently the Chief Business Officer of IL&FS Security Services Limited. He has been instrumental in the launch of various products in IL&FS, like derivative clearing, DDP services for foreign portfolio investors, are just to name a few. These products have not only helped the company grow, but have also served the entire capital market ecosystem. He has been very, very instrumental in growing the business of IL&FS Securities beyond Indian shores. Today, IL&FS is a name to reckon with internationally and serves clients across the world in countries like the United States, Australia, Singapore, United Arab Emirates, Mauritius, Hong Kong, Bahrain, United Kingdom, Luxembourg, and beyond. Please join me in a round of applause to welcome Mr. V. Hans Prakash. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Good morning. The first, I just recently, I learned that, first time when you're meeting someone, okay, anytime during the day, you need to say good morning. Okay, so I'm just taking the British tradition forward, right? A very good morning, a warm welcome to all of you. It's been a sunny winter day in Abu Dhabi, right? And I'm flabbergasted to be here in this lovely, lovely hotel. Don't you guys feel it's beautiful here? I can't hear it, I'm sorry. So smaller number doesn't mean louder noise. We need to show our strength, right? So great. So I'm here for two reasons. The first reason is, of course, I need to talk about, foreign portfolio investments, which definitely is my forte. I'm being paid by my company to ensure that I spread the DTP business, right? The second important thing is also to showcase on the foreign soil what India is all about, right? I think we Indians have actually showcased our strengths in various parts of the world, right? People say NASA runs because of us. Okay, I was in Chicago, right? Any part of Chicago has to go, has to see people, Indian people pouring in. Software companies are run by us. Sports, we are doing pretty well, right? So if you look at any domain or any field, Indians are there. Yes or no? So it's this soil which has produced so many great businessmen, sportsmen, people to reckon with, right, isn't it? So we run Microsoft now, yes or no, right, isn't it? So I'm saying any large company talk about, okay, you will have Indians running the show, and now they of course are at the helm of the affairs. Now what do you think about India as a country? Is it rich or poor? What do you feel about it? Pawanji? Is India a rich country or poor country? What do you feel about it? Sorry? Yeah. So the point is, we are a developing nation, but not poor, right? So while I was sitting over here, and I was given time to actually be the third speaker. I was supposed to be second. I became third. So I was just penning down some points, and these are all things that I could get from websites, right? 1 in every 6th person is an Indian. 1 in every 6 person in the world is an Indian. Our maximum population is below 30 years of age. Our GDP is growing at 7% continuously. By the way, we are 1.3 billion population, right? IMF predicts in 2017-18, we would grow at a pace of 7.2%. And in 18-19, we grow at a pace of 7.7%. We have already overtaken China as the fastest growing economy of the world, right? I'm talking about India. We are largest democracy, and it's time tested, right? Our GDP is 2.439 trillion. We're the 6th largest economy by nominal GDP, 6th largest. 3rd largest by PPP, purchasing power parity, right? We have 95 billionaires in the country with 2,64,000 millionaires, right? Now what do you think about India in the list of the new world wealth? Where do you think India is going to be? Any guesses? In the new world wealth survey, where would India be in terms of number? You're too ambitious, ma'am. We'll surely reach there. We're number 6th. 7th. We're number 7th. We're ahead of Canada, Australia, and Italy. Right? We have the total wealth held by Indians is 6.2 trillion. So I'm talking about a country which is supposed to be a poor country in the eyes of people, and I'm showing that we are ahead of Australia, ahead of Canada in terms of the number of in terms of wealth. The total individual wealth, by this report, is 5,600 billion by the billionaires and millionaires. This is who we are. This is a country which right now has not even shown its colors. Right? We're just at the cusp of explosion. Imagine the explosion happens. So, I think World Bank survey says by 2050, India is going to be the 3rd largest economy after US and China. Okay? I can be ambitious, but I feel There's nothing that's stopping us becoming number 1 or number 2, isn't it? We have 32 years, a lot of time, right? We have almost everybody who's below 30 years of age, most of our population. So what stops us in doing so, right? It's only possible if at all we make right moves right now, right? And that's what exactly India is doing, right? Over a period of time, a lot of changes are happening in the country which are ensuring that we move in the right direction, okay? FPI is one of it. It's attracting foreign wealth to the country. So this is something that I'm going to cover about ILFS. I belong to ILFS, been working here for 18 years, being paid by the company, I have to talk about it. That's what I've been told by my boss. Like, Jao wahan par, go there and ensure you talk about us first. So I'm going to do that. Okay. I would talk about ILFS Security. So we are a subsidiary of the parent company called ILFS. Okay. It's a financial institution, one of the largest in India. Okay. I'm going to talk about the ILFS offerings to the to the foreign investors. I'm going to talk about FPI regime. I'm going to talk about operational process and why you should be with us. Right? End of the day, I have to justify my salary as well. So, ILFS, which is known as Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Service Limited, is one of the leading infrastructure and financial services company in India. So you can break us in two parts. One is infrastructure leasing, other is financial services. So these are two distinct businesses. We were established in the year 1988 by entities like UTI, HDFC, Central Bank of India, right? And we were the pioneers in the public-private partnership model that was brought into India at a time when infrastructure was not even being spelled properly by people there. So 1988, we brought in this structure, right? A company which is actually built to, to develop the physical infrastructure. Why is it going into financial infrastructure, right? That's what we were meant to. So we didn't limit ourselves only to physical infrastructure. We went ahead and tried to move into financial infrastructure as well. So we were instrumental on one of the first few shareholders of the National Stock Exchange. Okay, we have a stake in the multi-commodity exchange as well. So we actually were participants in the financial infrastructure of the country also, right? Especially capital markets, right? So, our current promoters include State Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation, Oryx, Japan, and ADIA. So ADIA holds almost 12% stake in the company. So you guys can definitely have some kind of co-relationship with the place. Okay, ADIA is one of our largest shareholders and very, very important shareholder. So we're into infrastructure, we're into financial services, we're into ports, power, transportation, well spread across, completely institutionalized as a company. If you look at us, the entire shareholding is distributed amongst the institutional shareholders, okay, like LIC, Oryx, okay, Central Bank of India, State Bank of India, ADIA, and so on. So this is a small company within ILFS. So ILFS is a parent company. It has many subsidiaries. I am one of the subsidiaries, a small subsidiary, a baby in the company. Okay, we were set up in the year 2007, right? And the basic reason why we were set up is to ensure that the capital market business, okay, is being taken care as a separate entity. There should be focus, right? Since then, okay, we have grown extremely well, right? While we talk, we are the largest professional clearer in India. I'd be pretty happy to say that it's not the biggies of the big banks of the world. Okay, but ILFS, a homegrown Indian company, which is the largest clearer in the derivative segment. Every third to fourth trade in the derivatives in India, which is huge. Okay, India does a lot of derivative volume, right? Is cleared by us. Okay, we are pretty strong in terms of custody. Okay, we are market leaders in the alternative AIF category, Cat 3. Okay, almost 70 to 80% of the Cat 3 funds. We do custody for. We are also pretty strong in in doing custody for the PMS, which is a domestic structure, and we're extremely strong and hold a very significant market share in managing the Cat 3 foreign investments. Okay, I will be in the due course of time, I'll be explaining what is Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, how foreign investment can come in and everything. So these are the products and services we have. We are into depository, loan against shares, we are a DDP, okay, designated depository participant is very important. We are one of the 16 entities which have been, which have been given the license by the honorable regulator of India called SEBI, okay, to onboard foreign investors to India, right? So we're into security lending and borrowing, we're into custodial services, fund accounting. We have our partners who help us in doing various things. We have trust company, we have banks, we have the entire partner ecosystem, okay, which helps us in getting all these things together, various products, to bind various products together. So what do we offer to foreign investors? Why should somebody come to us? Now if you see, when a foreign investor comes to the country, okay, his image, and right now even if you Google, right, most of it would be talking about India linking to bureaucracy, time taken to onboard, this, that, only problems. But to tell you a fact, over a period of time, in the foreign investment regime, both the ministry and the regulator has ensured they streamline the process to an extent that if everything is proper, fit and fine, an FPI can be onboarded before 1 month time, within a period of 1 month. Trust me, I have onboarded FPIs. If he had a PAN card in 10 days, if he didn't have a PAN card in 18 days. That's how easy it is for an FPI to be onboarded to India, right? Doesn't it seem interesting, right? The whole endeavor of the regulator has been to ensure how to cut short this time, right? So what do? We play a part. So as a DDP, once the documents come to us, we just need to onboard the client and take care of it, right? And ensure that he gets a license to trade. We go a step further. Now when a foreign investor comes in, whether it's a pension fund, it's a mutual fund, it's an insurance company, a broad-based fund, an individual or a corporate, he wants a one-stop shop. He doesn't want to go to 10 people, right? That's what we do. We take upon us activities which should not be done by us, but we facilitate that process. So to begin from the PAN to the bank account, we take care. So when you come in, I manage your PAN processing, I manage your custody, I manage your demat account, I manage derivative clearing, stock lending, escrow services, whatever you feel, banking, whatever is required for you, okay, to trade in India, I take care of it, right? So as I said, over a period of time, the expertise has developed so much that we are able to onboard FPIs within a period of 10 days, 18 days, 1 month. So within 1 month, we are able to onboard, provided documents are there. So this is what we are doing. So, the regulator is playing its part, the ministry is playing its part, and the partners, you talk about custodians and banks, are playing their part, right? Now, just a point, earlier, it was required for a foreign investor to first apply for a PAN card, which is tax card in India, and then the entire processing used to start. Now, a PAN card can be parallel. So PAN card used to take 10 days, 15 days to come. Now, if you have everything else happening in parallel, and within the time period, even PAN card is getting processed, you imagine, you cut short the time by 10 days odd, sometimes in 15. Right? So all these things, the regulator is trying to do to ensure that, the time taken for an FPI to enter into the system is reduced. So what is a foreign portfolio investment? In the earlier avatar, okay, these entities were called FII. When we used to sit in 90s, we used to look at them as dinosaurs. Huge entities, right? FII means somebody very huge, some entities which are huge. Big mutual funds, sovereign funds, foreign banks, only these were known to be the FIIs, right? Over a period of time, that is from 2012-13 onwards, what the ministry and the regulator has done is to ensure they involve the entire structure. That means from the sovereign fund to an individual to be investing into the country. So today, if you are a resident of London or Singapore or Australia or US or Abu Dhabi or Dubai, a foreign resident, you can invest into India as good as an Indian investor can do. And trust me, the number of instruments that you can trade in is huge. Right? Today, if you want to trade, of course, when you look at the investment structure, derivative is supposed to be most complex. FPI's category 3, which is the individual investors, can also trade in derivatives. So basically, to say that the regulator has ensured they don't leave any financial instrument in the capital market which cannot be traded, which cannot be executed by a foreign portfolio investor. So the entire foreign portfolio investment is actually divided in 3 parts: FPI category 1, category 2, and category 3. The category 1 of FPI investors include sovereign fund, foreign banks, okay, government agencies, okay, so on and so forth. Okay. Category 2 includes broad-based funds, insurance companies, mutual funds. Category 3, I call it Eureka. Category 3, I call it Eureka because anybody else who's unregulated, all fall under category 3 and they can invest in India as category 1 and 2 can do. That means a corporate, a trust, an individual, a family office, anybody can invest. Okay, so that's what exactly I was trying to say. Somebody in Abu Dhabi, if he wants, or Dubai, if he wants to invest into India, he can just fill a form, fill documents, give it to us, 1 month time at max, provided all documents are in place. We can do it even at lesser period of time. They can just invest into the country. And trust me, when I show the list of instruments that he can trade, okay, you'll be surprised. So it's not that they have distinguished someone to do, say category 1 or 2 can invest in certain instruments, and category 3 cannot invest in those instruments. No. All the instruments that we are speaking about, maybe the margining system may be different. Okay. So, but every instrument that category 1 and 2 can invest, category 3 can also invest. So what's the eligibility of an applicant? Okay. He should not be a resident of India. So NRIs don't come under it, please. Right? He should be a resident of a country where, the SEBI MOU or ISU MOU has been signed. Okay. So there are very simple set of requirements, okay, which govern this entire structure. Okay. We don't entertain, or the regulator doesn't entertain opaque structure. Okay. So an omnibus structure is not entertained, right? So it's pretty clean. Okay. We just want clean money to come into the system. So it's very clearly defined who all can come in. Okay, what all different documents are applicable? That's also very clearly mentioned. Okay, you need SEBI registration, you need a custody account, you need a PAN card, bank account, demat account, a broking account. But trust me, you don't need to go to 10 places to get this. You just come to us, we'll take care of everything. One single place for you to have all the solutions. Okay, you just give me a set of documents. We just ask you a certain set of documents. These documents are distributed across to various, intermediaries, who are actually a part of the entire process, and it's taken care. These are the list of instruments that you can trade in: equity, debt, derivative. Equity includes shares, debentures, warrants, unit of domestic mutual fund schemes, units of schemes floated by collective CIS. Okay, you have derivatives traded on recognized exchanges, IDRs, any other instrument, dated government securities, commercial papers, denominated credit enhancement bonds, you name it and we have it. So the list is exhaustive, right? It also includes derivatives. It includes equity, currency, and interest rate futures. So the instruments are exhaustive. The number of entities which can enter in the form of category 1, 2, and 3 is exhaustive. So the combination is explosive. some fun facts of numbers. When you look at India, you think what kind of investment would be entering into the country? Which countries would actually be dominating the investment into the country? In the year 2017-18, by now, we have close to $20 billion of investment already poured in. I'm talking about net investment. Look at it. Except for 2015-16, from 2009 onwards, the entire investment has been positive till now. So year on year, these foreign institutions are actually putting faith into the country. Okay, slowly and steadily, even the Indian investors are recognizing the strength of Indian capital market. So if you see, a lot of money is coming through systematic investment plans, where domestic Indian investors, using their, strength of money, 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, are investing into mutual fund schemes. So last time when there was an exodus of funds by the foreign portfolio investors, I think sometime in October, market didn't fall. I was just trying to wonder why it didn't happen when in such large quantum funds were going out. That was because the Indian institutions were buying. So there's a fantastic mix of Indian foreign investors which are ensuring that the market remains balanced. Right? So I've been hearing, some 5,000, 6,000 crore of SIP investment is coming in every month. So we're talking about $1 billion of investment coming in through Indian investors itself. Okay, it's a beautiful balancing. Right? So tomorrow, there used to be a saying that if FI sneeze, the market catches cold. It doesn't happen anymore. We have medicines in the form of Indian investors who are ensuring that this market remains protected. And look at the quantum of investments. I'm not sure for investors or for residents in rich countries like Abu Dhabi and Dubai how this will look, but to India it's a big figure. 1,33,000 crore has something that's come in this year till now. These are December figures. And the point is, every year on year from 2009 to 2017, the figure has been positive. That shows the strength of the country and the thought of the foreign investors towards this country. People are positive towards India. These are the list of countries which are investing into India. Mind you, 31% of the entire investment entering into the country is from USA. People have been thinking about Mauritius, tax havens. Slowly and steadily, as the economy is growing strong, investors across the globe are ensuring that they put money into the country. So I'm saying close to 10 lakh crore, or should be what, $155 billion has been invested by US into the country. So next is Mauritius, then Singapore, Luxembourg, UK, Ireland, Japan. So look at the list. 31 lakh crore. 31 lakh crore is the total investment by only FIIs. I'm not even including FDI right now. Only FII investment in India, which should be close to $500 billion. That's only the FII investment, right? So when you look at these figures, okay, for us it's mind-boggling. And I'm sure we have just touched the tip of the iceberg. A country which is vibrant, which has young population, which is growing at 7% GDP year on year, okay, strong leadership, having a democratic setup, I'm sure there's much more to flow. The only thing we never used to market ourselves too much, and thanks to Mr. Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister, is ensuring that he goes to every part of the world to ensure he showcases the strength of India to the world at large. I'm sure, I think over a period of time, once people understand the inherent strength of the country and the way the country is growing, FDI, FPI investment is definitely going to pour in. I think this year, the FDI investment was 45 billion close to 45 billion, I think so. So you have 20 billion of net FI investment. You have $45 billion of FDI investment to a country like India. I feel it's good. It's a good beginning. So how do foreign investors look at central government securities? The upper limit is mentioned over here. I've been coming here almost since March. I haven't seen this figure going below 90%. So central government securities, G6 and all, are almost subscribed. So that shows the kind of positivity, surety that FPIs have towards central government securities. Look at it, you know, corporate bonds is 98.32, corporate bonds, Indian corporate bonds is 98.32% of this overall subscribed limit. And every time there's been a lot of, you know, wave, request, requirements of this limit to go up. This is a simple operational process from start to the order. Okay, you start with your PAN. PAN can be in parallel in process right now. You need your KYC, FPI registration. Okay, we take care of your bank account, we take care of DP account, custody account, everything. Okay, we help you generate CP code. It's a particular code given to you to trade. Okay, you can only use that particular code to execute your orders in the exchanges. Okay, now just to state, as of now, commodity is not you know, open for FPI clients. Rest all the asset classes are open. And I'm sure, I think what I've heard is even our regulator is working on even bringing on commodity, okay, as an asset class for the FPI investors. Expected timelines for setup and to go live is 1 month. If all documents are given, everything is in place, I can assure you it's going to be less than 1 month. This is something that we used to talk about close to 7 months back. Now, if the PAN card processing is in parallel, you know, we can give a try of getting you onboarded within 15 to 20 days as well. What is required? Look at the set of requirement for an individual. So, I remember in 99, 2000, I used to go to open demat accounts of Indian investors. I don't see any difference in the kind of documents that have been asked by foreign investors, okay, as compared to Indian investor. It's very simple. Okay, proof of identity, proof of address, bank proof, bank letter, and PAN. So I had a client who came from Australia. His name is Ben. He came to India. He was on a vacation, and at the same time, since he was a financial investor, he was trying to look at various stocks that he can invest in. Okay, luckily, he had applied for a PAN card, right? In 10 days sharp, the client was live and active. He had his 10 list of stocks ready in which he wanted to invest. He knew, we gave him the list of brokers that he can choose from. We gave him the bank. 10 days sharp, the client was active and he traded. Right, so a tourist coming in who has interest in financial services, okay, goes and trades on the 11th day. This is what difference that we can make if the entire ecosystem joins together to ensure that we need to bring in the foreign investment to the country. A foreign portfolio investor can have one custodian. He can trade through multiple brokers, right? He can trade through multiple exchanges. Okay, so MF investments can be directly through a custodian. He can also do IPOs. So category 1 and 2 are looked at as institutional investors by the regulator. So they can also apply in the institutional category. Right? So equity trades in India are settled at T+2. Derivative trades are settled at T+1. Okay. Mutual fund redemptions are done on T+1 basis. And FPIs can also do stock lending and borrowing. So if you want to short a particular, a particular stock, you can either do it by using derivatives, or you can borrow securities and sell it in the market. Right? So the best thing is that even when, we had Lehman crisis going on 2008, markets meltdown, currency meltdown, okay, commodity meltdown, we haven't seen our exchanges defaulting on payments for even one single day. So what we are trying to showcase is the strength of Indian exchanges. So there have been days that ILFS, that is my company, has cleared 9.75 lakh value trade, which is close to 30% of the exchange, 33% of exchange volume. Imagine the kind of, so if 30 lakh crore volume is happening, okay, on the best days in the exchange, okay, at any given point of time, if the volumes are so huge, since the beginning of these exchanges, I'm talking about 1993, 94 when NSE started off, or BSC, there's not been a single settlement failure ever. And by the way, studies, I was just hearing in one of the in one of such events that Security and Exchange Board of India is ranked number 13 by some world forum in terms of investor protection. Right, so whatever may be our number in terms of in other areas, but as far as investor protection is concerned, SEBI is number 13. So we have a very, very strong ecosystem, infrastructure, regulatory framework, bank framework, partner framework, okay, to ensure things are up and running at any point of time. So we are as good as any developed nation in terms of doing settlements for our clients, which includes foreign clients. So these are various margins. So we generally, for derivative, which is the largest traded instrument in the domestic exchanges, and if my thought goes right, Nifty options is one of the largest traded derivative instrument in the world now, right? So I was in an event last week in Singapore, and Koreans were crying the way Indians have just hijacked the entire volume, okay, from them, because in 2008, 9, and even up to 2010, the Korean futures was one of the largest traded instrument. Now it's Nifty. So what we're trying to showcase is all these things, okay, if you perform, if you ensure continuous settlements, if you ensure that, you have a strong regulatory system, if you ensure there's a strong banking system, if you ensure there's a strong custodian, strong depository, over a period of time, people will have faith in system, and then volumes are going to pick up, right? That's what's been happening. So in case of derivatives, okay, the margins are very clearly mentioned. We take Chicago's span, CME's span software for calculation of initial margins. In addition to initial margins, we also apply another additional margin called mark-to-market margin or exposure margin. Okay, MTM, so mark-to-market margins in derivatives are settled on daily basis. So any loss in a portfolio for a particular day is settled the next day. And despite such large volumes happening in the market, our exchanges have ensured proper, timely settlements at any given point of time. So I don't want to name exchanges during Lehman crisis, which had difficulties. Okay, even on 21st of Jan 2008, I was there in the market. My pain went on time. My payout came on time. So people may have pneumonia, people may sneeze, people may catch cold, but our markets are completely safe. That's because of the way our exchanges are run, the way our regulator ensures that the system is safe. So one thing to talk about is for category 1 and category 2 clients, as far as cash margins are, in cash market, there are no margins levied. That means VAR margin, which is required for purchase of shares, is not levied. For category 3, okay, VAR margins are the margins that are required to buy any stock in the cash market. It's compulsory. In derivative segment, whether you're category 1, 2, or 3, initial exposure margin is compulsory. Mark-to-market margins happen daily in derivatives. This is too operational, I really don't want to get into it. So these are all the activities that are done, okay, by various market intermediaries like broker, custodian, bank, advisor, chartered accountant, and the client. You can look at it, custodian, that is us. We are designated depository participant. We almost manage everything, from KYC to the client reporting. Everything is managed by custodian. So with great power comes great responsibility. So what a client needs to do, just look at it. He just needs to execute trades, okay, and needs to maintain relationship with the various intermediaries. That's it. Everything else is taken care of by somebody else. That's how easy we have made things. Why you should go with IFS Security Service Limited? We're the largest clearing member in the exchange traded derivative category. Proud to say an Indian company, an Indian institution, which is a market leader, okay, clearing every third to fourth trade of National Stock Exchange, which is the largest derivative exchange in India right now. Okay, close to 33%, every third trade is getting cleared by us. Our governance and compliance are one of the best in the industry. In fact, sometimes we say we run the business of compliance. Right? We're the largest custodian in Category 3 AIF, which is a hedge fund. So slowly and steadily, Indian regulator has opened up to the thought process of having hedge funds in India, though the kind of leverage that they've been offered is very small. If you have a PMS, you cannot have leverage at all. Okay, if you have an AIF Category 3, which is a hedge fund, you can at max leverage 2 times. Right. So even if you're doing derivative instruments where the leverage can be much more, 6 times, 7 times, or 10 times. Indian domestic hedge fund can at max leverage 2 times. Simple. So they're opening up, but opening up slowly. Right? We have close to 1,500 clients, customers who are IT enabled. The only intermediary which has various licenses, we clear across asset classes, we deal with customers across, our minimum thresholds are small. So if at all investor comes in and he says he has $1 million to invest, okay, and maybe large banks, the doors of large banks wouldn't be open for him, we are quite open, right? So we don't distinguish between a sovereign fund and individual investors. We have so many individual investors who have opened account with us. Right? So at the end of the day, the endeavor should be to increase the size of participation. So over a period of time, we had Category 1 and Category 2, okay, largely dominating the entire FPI regime. Our endeavor is to ensure that the fag end of Category 2 and Category 3 equally participates in this growth rally. And by the way, we need to understand what this can do. Indian investors, okay, who are investing in systematic investment plans, they have been able to pour in $1 billion every month. So, this power of aggregation shouldn't be forgotten. So we will be very happy if at all investors across the globe, even individual investors, actually come in and do participate in this complete process of investing in India. You have various instruments, including mutual funds where they can invest. So the point is, the fact that, you need to think about LFS is most important technology. We have been able to clear close to 5 million transactions, which is the size of few exchanges, right? So the strength basically is that we are systemically important. Okay, the quantum of transactions that we have cleared over a period of time. Okay, if you see, we have cleared a peak volume of $150 billion. Okay, we had nil audit observations. Okay, our technology has never failed the market. So the point is, we are a technology-driven, back-office-oriented company. Marketing just comes in. Okay, now we are actually going ahead and marketing it to various people. Marketing just comes in because of the thought that we need to bring in customers. But otherwise, if you look at the company per se, it is compliance-oriented, technology-driven, back-office operations company, and we are very robust, very strong in it. A lot of innovations that have happened in exchanges have, we've been instrumental in doing it. Because, it's very, very important for you to take the market feedback onto the exchanges and try and do things, okay? Over a period of time, and in fact, I think since beginning, Indian exchanges have been quite open to the ideas of change. I think that's why they have survived and grown, right? So Our job is to ensure we take in the requirement of the clients across the various, various segments, whether it's, a corporate client or broker in India or foreign investors outside, to the exchanges and the regulator to change various things. And that's what you see now. Just to give an example, if you're a high frequency trader and you want to trade in Indian exchanges, okay, there were times that, the trade acceptance times used to be huge because, and these investors had to keep margins at 2 different places. Right now, if you are a high frequency trader and you trade in Indian exchanges and you clear through me, I accept trades like this. So the time that we take to accept trade is 18 milliseconds. So minute you hit a trade, a derivative trade, okay, and in any of the Indian exchanges using a broker, okay, and you have an auto acceptance of trade activated through me, okay, the minute you blink an eye, your trade is accepted. So frankly speaking, you don't run a risk of an intermediary broker, right? At the same time, you don't need to keep margins at 2 different places. So this is what technology has done, okay? And this all has happened because the entire partner ecosystem has come together to ensure we give the best to the end customer. And trust me, this is active and live. They're large, foreign funds which are using automated auto trade acceptance through us, okay, and they've been able to derive benefits out of it. So CRISP, why ILFS? We are a neutral player. So the beauty about working with ILFS is we do not do any business that you do. We are not into broking, we're not into proprietary trades, we don't do any kind of investment. So the point is, we don't do any kind of things that you do. So our core focus is to ensure we take care of our clients and dig deep into technology, okay, and giving operational excellence, right? We facilitate auto confirmation of trades, which is clearing the trades within the blink of an eye, right? So over a period of time, we've been able to customize the reporting system as per requirement. One fine day, one of the foreign banks came to us who clears to us in India and says they wanted a GMI compliant reporting system. And trust me, we had no clue how it works. We went to the Indian, counterpart, which is giving the service. They didn't have any clue about it. We went and spoke to the Singapore counterpart and ensured that that particular reporting system is available for a client. So today, clients like CSFB or Bank of America have a GMI compliant reporting system through ILFS. And that's one of the biggest reasons why these people feel comfortable working with us. This is the list of various categories of clients we service. A high frequency trader, an algo player, domestic hedge fund, banks, trust, family offices, broad-based funds, broker, HNIs, ultra HNIs, individuals, name it and we have it. Across the globe, you would see, anywhere where you see large or small investors emanating from would have investors over there. The point is simple and clear. We are a clean, pure players who are only interested in doing our core business of custody and clearing. So whether it's domestic markets or foreign markets, we ensure we don't enter into any area which is not our core expertise, okay, but stick to our strengths and perform. So custody and clearing are 2 core businesses for us. So we don't get out of this core area into investments or broking or this and that to ensure that we don't dilute what we are doing. And that's the reason for our success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hans Prakash. Hello. Yes, can you hear me? Thank you. That was absolutely astounding to see how you have beautifully articulated the financial architecture of India today. So, microphones, quick questions, please. It's a must.
Whether you ask questions or not, but please do invest in the country. Sorry, yeah, please, most welcome.
There's a wide range of portfolios up for grabs, isn't it?
Yes, for sure.
Not to be missed. Yes, question.
I thought Pawan had a question.
Yeah, my name is Nimesh Lokhandwala.
Yes,
Are you
sir.
guaranteeing any returns to the investors?
Sir, as far as we are concerned, we are, as I said, we are clean, pure custodians and clearers. Our activity is just to onboard these customers and ensure it is given to the partner ecosystem. So I don't know if there will be someone who will be guaranteeing returns, but definitely there will be people who can convince you for sure. I'm saying we'll have partners. We'll have partners in form of AIFs. We'll have partners in form of brokerage houses, which can actually help you or support you to get the best returns. But I don't know if there are guaranteed return schemes operating in India. I'm not sure of it. But yes, we can definitely put you on to people who can help you do that.
And ILFS is also into a lot of infrastructure activities.
Yes,
so
please,
do you also support investors to undertake some projects back home in India?
So, so I'm saying that's not my core forte for sure, but as a company, yes, we do. And if there is a project which is, interesting and worth the ILFS, core expertise, why not? I can definitely put you on to the right person there.
No,
We'll
supposing,
in fact, yeah.
Supposing if we get investors over here who would like to invest there in India, so can we identify some projects which ILFS are undertaken and?
So I think, sir, that entire structure would have to be a fund structure through which this has to come in. And I'm sure there'll be a good set of Indian funds. I think one of it is sitting over here itself, okay, which can actually help you in getting those investments to the country. If ILFS has some funds, I'm sure they would be. I can refer you them as well. For sure, yeah. I think we can talk post this, post the presentations through, please. I'll be happy to talk to you on this.
Thank you.
Some known faces.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Can you explain, do you have any role in ADGM fund setups here?
ADGM?
Do you have any role in that?
So
or what's your role?
Yeah, sure. So as of now, our thought, so one of the funds, Indian funds, actually is setting up a feeder fund in ADGM. Okay, we have been in negotiation with ADGM to ensure that, to try and work out a global custodian model. Yeah. Okay. So we're in the process right now. Yes, please. So the way the UAE-India are coming close together, it's very, very important, pertinent for us to ensure that we have some kind of correlations existing. And yeah, I'm sure.
So as of now, you're focusing only in SEBI funds, as of now?
So yes, I think as of now we've been focusing on funds across the globe which are investing into the country.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the focus, the core focus right now.
Okay. But if required, you can extend your services to ADGM clients also?
Yes, over a period of time, the endeavor is that.
Thank you.
Right now, our focus, even for ADGM funds, are the funds which actually are trying to bring in investment into the country.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Come on, investors. We
Hans,
mean
I'm not
business
asking
here.
the question,
Please.
but just wanted to add what he has just answered the gentleman's question about the guaranteed returns. So in India, there are lots of structured products, and structured products are varies from with capital protection, with marginal some returns which you will get, and along with the market participation. So depends on individuals' risk appetite, if they want to just protect the capital and they want to participate fully into upcoming markets, that kind of structure design can be done. If you wanted the fixed returns, then there is lots of arbitrage opportunity in listed space as well. So both sides of the returns you can get, but it depends on the appetite of the individual investors. Thanks.
So to say, sir, in fact, I'm just taking the quote out as a custodian talking to you. There's definitely, of course, I'm sure you would be aware of it. There's definitely some kind of risk in every investment call that you take. Okay, now the quantum of risk may differ at different points of time. As he mentioned, if you look at arbitrage products, or if you actually invest into debt funds, okay, the risk is comparatively lower than investing in one-sided securities. So the point is risk is there at any point of time, and guaranteed return, of course, I think Pawan is the right person to talk about it because he's been a fund manager before, but somehow that doesn't gel well with my thought process because I do not know in these markets how somebody can just come in and give guaranteed returns. So I'm not sure. Pawan is the right guy for you, by the way. Anyone else? So thank you so much. Real thanks to you, and I'll be very happy. I tried my best to ensure whatever best I could put in from my side for my company and my country, which is more important. Okay, to bring in investments into the country, and I'm sure if anyone is interested, any point of time, you're most welcome. We are there to support you. Even some places where we do not have expertise in, or we cannot get into that domain, will ensure that we take you to the right people who can help you out. Any point in time, going to exchanges, going to regulators, we can definitely facilitate. You try to work various things out through banks or some, as he mentioned, he wants to invest into some infra company or something of that sort. Though we may not be authorized to talk about it or do those things, but we can definitely take you to the right people who would be into it. Thank you.
Okay. May I ask a quick last question?
Yes, please.
You mentioned something about 31 lakh crores only in FIIs. What's your take on the future projections?
So my thought would be, we should be 10 times from here.
Is that right?
Yes, please.
You're that optimistic?
I would be for sure, because I know the inherent strength of the country, and I'm saying the way Indians are growing in terms of their vision and thought process of newer things. Like, Ajay is sitting here. His company is, has a remarkable thought process of actually getting into the semiconductor industry. This has never been thought about, right? And you would see Indians like them being entrepreneurial at different stages, at different points right now in the country. So I'm saying if he is thinking about bringing in, 2 billion into the country? If he's thinking about bringing in 2 billion into the country, how many such 2 billions are sitting?
Absolutely. Very innovative.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do the awards. Mr. Sajid Kumar, please, can you kindly come forward for the token of appreciation, though the big awards are going to be later on in the evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sajid Kumar. Thank you, Mr. Hans Prakash. All right. Now, one last presentation before we break for lunch. I call it the cherry on the dessert, the groundbreaking financial success story that took place yesterday at the Abu Dhabi Global Market around 9 o'clock in the morning, Mr. Ajay Jalan. Did you launch the feeder fund? That's right, congratulations. So I'm obviously going to say a few words about yourself, your entrepreneurial spirit, and the strive to succeed. Mr. Ajay Jalan has more than 20 years' experience in the fields of finance, operations, and investment management. He has served as Chief Operating and Chief Finance Officer of various Fortune 500 companies like Tata's, ACS, IFCI, I2 Technologies, etc. in India. He was also involved in making of the Government of India's semiconductor incentive policy for the semiconductor project, which I believe is the first of its kind. He holds the business degree of MBA from La Trobe University of Australia, and also is qualified from the Indian Chartered Accountant and Company Secretary qualification with gold medals. He is further trained in Harvard, Indian Institute of Management, Indian School of Business, and also certified director from the Institute of Directors, United Kingdom. In 2012, he has founded the US $100 Next Orbit Ventures Fund, Series 1, and is currently raising more than US $2 billion for its second fund to invest in US $10 billion semiconductor fabs and ecosystem projects. A round of applause for Mr. Ajay Jalan. Thank you. Minutes. Shall I call the technical services on?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, with the support of IBMC, Next Orbit Ventures have launched the first of its kind feeder fund in Abu Dhabi global market. The inspiration for setting up a feeder fund in Abu Dhabi global market came from His Excellency Sheikh Khalid. And we are going with the guiding principles of him. But what we are trying with our second fund is also very audacious and very complex. And somebody visionary like His Excellency Sheikh Khalid can only drive such kind of a projects. This is also being supported currently with the alignment that Government of India and Government of UAE is happening, wherein last Republic Day of 2016 of India, His Highness Crown Prince was there, and they have also supported that UAE will help India get a semiconductor ecosystem. So it's a sort of private partnership project with Next Orbit, Government of India, and the Government of UAE also. So the brief presentation about what semiconductor and electronics is and how it is a relevant investment opportunity for global investors. As you all know, the electronics is getting all pervasive. 10 years back, we were just, electronic means laptops, desktops, or at the most now, the mobile phones. But slowly, but for surely, the electronics is getting all pervasive. In next 10 years, you will see that the most of the healthcare is being taken care of through electronics. In the morning sessions, about the digitization of education, as well as the digitization of the countries, the education is becoming more digital through electronics medium. We are talking about driverless car. So slowly and for surely, the electronics is getting all pervasive. And that is getting possible because of the semiconductors, the small black chip which resides into any electronic products is getting smarter and more intelligent. And they are the brains and hearts of any electronics. India with 1.3 billion population and the youngest population in the world with more than 600 million middle class is poised to become a big electronic market thanks to the current policies of the Government of India also. As you all are aware that recently the Government of India has done the demonetization and then thereafter have launched GST. The focus is totally on digitization of India. And that is going to fuel the demand for the electronics. So the young population where we were already talking about only one gadgets is now looking for at least 3 or 4 devices, which we regularly observe on the airports also, that for the check-in, the laptop has been taken out,
tablets are being taken out, Kindle readers are being taken out, and the mobile phones are being also taken out. So Indian electronic markets is going to be very big, and this will not only support the Indian market, it will also support the like-minded Middle East and African markets from there on. So in terms of numbers for the electronics, the market is going to expand from $140 billion in 2017 to, as per Government of India estimates, $400 billion by 2022. In terms of semiconductor demand, that will be from growing from 28 billion to $80 billion. And here is the opportunity that unlike China, which manufactures 90% of the world electronics, India don't assemble even 15% of its current requirement of $140 billion. And there is not even a single semiconductor manufacturing plant. So currently also $28 billion of semiconductor which India is consuming is getting imported, and $80 billion is going to be even bigger number. So that gives a multi-billion dollar opportunity for an Indian market to invest in. But how to get this semiconductors and electronics system in India? Next Orbit Ventures have studied that standalone fab, one fab on a digital space can cost anywhere between $5 billion to $10 billion. Analog fab, $1 billion plus. Solar fab, $1 billion plus. The standalone fab is not going to cut the ice. And that is also evidenced by that. That's why the Indian business houses like Tata's, Birla's, Reliance, they have not attempted it. The only way it can come is through a cluster approach or cluster strategy on the lines of Hsinchu Park of Taiwan. In Taiwan, in the Hsinchu Park, you have TSMCs and the UMCs, and then more than 300 to 400 ecosystem companies. And together, they support each other, and that's the same model that can work for India also. This is what we have found out after having an experience of 7-8 years in this market. And we are already executing this strategy through our first fund investments. Some of our portfolio companies will create almost 80% or will take almost 80% of the planned capacity of the fab that we are working for the Indian fab. So as the experts globally knows that to get a fab, three are the critical factors. One is the technologies, because it's so strategic that not every company or not every country is willing to share that. We have got best of the technology partners. We have also got the government support, and now through IBMC we are reaching out to the financial investors in the Middle East and GCC. So this is our core strategy, that we'll have digital fab, an analog fab, and a solar fab. And to support and feed those high-ticket investments, the further investments will happen in ecosystem companies, which will be the third-party driven companies in electronic products, be it mobile phone, tablets, set-top boxes, energy meters, industrial electronics, aerospace, automotive, design companies. So a very pertinent example is a mobile phone. Everybody is using that. Roughly around 140 components is there on the mobile phone. So if you have to manufacture, or somebody has to manufacture that, the passive and active components has to be designed first. So the chips, which goes, the digital chips and the analog chips, are the active component. Those chips has to be designed. And then the product also has to be designed. And then other components like the glass, the casings, the cord, the batteries. So if we invest into these multiple companies, they will in turn derive the demand for the fab, which is the big ticket investments. So Government of India also got interested in our fund strategy, and they called us on December 28, 2016 to submit our composite fab project proposal, and also requested us that what monetary support, what tech support, and what market creation support is required from the Government of India. We have to spell it out. So we took almost 6 months to find out the right technology partners, to find out the list of incentives that is required. We benchmarked the China market, we benchmarked the US market, the Europe market, and finally we submitted our proposal to Government of India on August 21st, 2017. And before coming to Abu Dhabi yesterday, 15 days back, I met Minister of State for Electronics and IT, and we were being informed that our proposal has been sent to the Empowered Committee for the Fab, which is chaired by one of the Niti Aayog member, of which current Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is the chairman. And thereafter, it will be taken for the cabinet for final approval. And Honorable Minister also gave their best wishes for our launch yesterday. So Government of India will not only support in terms of money and the tax benefit, they're also creating a platform whereby the locally manufactured electronic products will be given preference for all public purchases, for all government purchases. And once that sets in, the sheer volume of production that is required, that will percolate for the private consumption also. Two of the state governments, the state of Gujarat and the state of Andhra Pradesh, has also reached out to us to set up this $10 billion ecosystem project, for which around 2,000 acres of land, around 100 MLD of water, clean power, and host of other infrastructure is required. So we are working with both the state governments, and whosoever comes out with the best package will get the opportunity to house the fab. Currently, for these 3 projects, the SPV has been formed, and the best of the technology partners of the world has been shortlisted, and MOU has been done with them. So the tentative cost of these 3 fabs will be around $7 billion, spread over 3 phases. And Government of India, through capital subsidies and interest-free loan, will contribute up to 50% of the project cost. And currently, Frost & Sullivan, one of the leading market research companies of the world, is doing a semiconductor market study for India in association with India Electronic Semiconductor Association, the industry body. This report will help us to start to identify the technology node with which we should begin with. This report is expected by mid of January 2018. And thereafter, the groundwork will start for the implementation of the project. For ecosystem investments also, a lot of positive developments are happening. The large companies of the world, including AMD, Infineon, Applied Material, Foxconn, they have approached us to partner for those investments, wherein they will provide the technological support to identify the companies in which Next Orbit Ventures can invest, which in turn will not only augment the demand of their chips, those chips will also be manufactured by the foundry. So it's a win-win situation and great de-risking strategy for the investors, because the kind of technological bandwidth that these companies will bring on will enhance their returns. So out of $2 billion, around $900 million will be invested in the first phase, which will start from 2018 onwards, and we'll invest that money in 2 years. Second phase will be investing around $700 million, and in third phase we'll be investing around $500 million. The first phase of the production will take around 2 years. In the meantime, we will hit the market immediately, and that can be manufactured in our technological partners' factory in Taiwan or in the US. So we'll be in the market from day one. Now, what is the background of Next Orbit Ventures? Are they capable of doing such a big project, or can just they think about such a big project? I think we as a team has been doing that. Personally, I'm the founder of Next Orbit Ventures, and I have been involved into this industry from 2006 onwards, and that is where I have seen the potential of it. And now we have came up with the right strategy that has been endorsed by the technical experts as well as the financial investors who have invested billions of dollars in this. And so I am overwhelmed by the comment of one investor who has invested around $20 billion into a foundry, and their statement was, we have missed the bus. We should have done exactly what Next Orbit Ventures is thinking about it. We should have not put our entire money into only one fab. We should have invested into the ecosystem companies also. So this is a big statement of the right strategy that we are following up. And Government of India and the state governments also calling us and giving us support is a further milestone. Now, any investors will ask a question that, like, that's great, but whether we'll see our return of the money with a superior returns or not. And for that, we are creating the entire platform of making an unlisted investments, monitoring them, growing them, and then finally seamlessly exiting through the listed platforms. And that is where the team that Next Orbit has the combination of the same. I come from unlisted investment background. Pawan Sharma, my managing partner, comes from the listed investment background. And the exits that we have created and the exit strategy that we have created in the first fund has attracted the global names to float the listed investments also. About our differentiated investment, because again, the semiconductor is one area in which people are saying it's such a big investment. Even if the established industrial houses have not been able to do it, how can you do that? For this, we have a case study of our investment, first investment into fiercely fought e-commerce space in India. Companies like Flipkart, Snapdeals, they are getting billions of dollars of investments, and we have seen that their valuation has peaked to $15 billion and then came down to $5 billion. So effectively, they are not making money. The investors are not making money. And still, how many more years are required? It's just a wait and watch. Among that crowded space, we picked a company called Infibeam. And when we invested into that company, it was at $200 million valuation. We invested into that company, and today we are proud to say that That company is around $1.5 billion valuation. The first company from e-commerce space that has got listed. And last year when Snapdeal was forced to get merged with Flipkart, they declined the offer and they have been talking with Infibeam to merge with them. And recently, they have also bagged a large contract of Government of India to monitor the GEM portal, wherein the entire purchases of Government of India as well as the 28 states that we have will be done online, and the entire portal will be managed by Infibeam. So that itself will be a big boost in terms of the gross merchandise value, if that is the benchmark for any e-commerce companies to evaluate. The total purchase of governments is more than 5 trillion rupees. So we hope that, like the way we see a differentiated investments, we'll do the same things in a second fund also. As far as the team is concerned, that only makes the difference. So we have the right team, right combination of unlisted investment partner through me, listed investment partnership through Pawan Sharma, the technological expertise by Sanjeev Taneja, who sits in the US, Silicon Valley, where the technology resides, and Sajid Kumar, CEO of IBMC, is our financial investor partner to raise the money from GCC. And we have more than 15 members, and the team is expanding as we are growing. The fund structure, so the master fund in India is registered with Securities and Exchange Board of India under the AIF category, category 1, venture capital fund. Our trustees is one of the ILFS company called Vistara ITCL. Custodian is Island FS. Fund accounting is Sundaram BNP Paribas. Bankers is SDFC Bank. And auditors is Deloitte. For GCC investors, on the recommendations and guidance of His Excellency Sheikh Khalid, we have incorporated the feeder fund at Abu Dhabi Global Market, for which we did an official launch yesterday in his August presence. There also our custodian is Island FS. The fund accounting will be done by Apex, which is a global fund accountant. Our bankers will be first Abu Dhabi Bank, and auditors will be Deloitte. The terms of our fund is pretty standard. It's 9-year terms fund. The management fee and the setup fee is, and the carry shares are all standard terms. Even though the opportunity is big, but we have kept the terms what is prevalent in the market. So what is the opportunity for GCC investors? So what we see is that in last 3-4 years, the confidence between the Government of India and Government of UAE has increased. As I said, His Highness Crown Prince has promised to support India's efforts to get a semiconductor fund between Next Orbit Ventures and IBMC. We have an understanding to raise the money for this fund. And now, with our feeder fund, we are local fund to receive the money from the GCC investors and the UAE fund investors. What we feel is that this is a winning strategy, because the ecosystem is the only strategy to get a fab, and that will create and boost the innovation level at both India, Middle East, and the African countries. The timing is also right in the sense that world is looking for a second source of trusted supply of electronics and semiconductors apart from the east of Asia. And the world-class team makes the difference. And these are the numbers that the type of companies that will be investing. What is the global returns of these benchmarking returns for those companies? The numbers in themselves are very attractive. And as we have demonstrated in our first fund that we have given a return better than the market, I think we'll either match or we'll exceed those numbers. That will be our best efforts. Thank you.
We need to ask some questions. It's been a very genius of an enterprise yesterday.
So, a wonderful presentation, first of all. So I've been hearing you for a good, I'm sorry, I should stand up. But I've been hearing you for a good time now, and the fact that we are associated as a custodian with you, I definitely understand a lot of stuff that you're doing. So one question is, how do you look at this initiative? Do you really look at this initiative more from the commercial point of view? You know, you have a fund, you know, your endeavor is to make money for your investors and at the same time, you know, making money for your own fund in the process, okay, and to the stakeholders. And second is, you know, the way it has, it would have a more social and, you know, a countrywide impact in terms of this fund, you know, what it is going to bring to India as a whole. So which way you are more balanced? And which way the balance tilts? You know, is it more commercial or you know, is it more a social initiative?
Thanks, Hans. I think we are being driven by the vision of getting this industry to a large country like India. If you see globally, Indians are driving this strategic industry. I would say it is unfortunate that large country like India is the only one that doesn't have a fab. The smaller countries like Malaysia also have a fab, Singapore also have a fab. So it is more from the perspective of, you know, what the country needs. And second thing, you know, we all are observing that the electronics primarily is coming from east of Asia, and regularly we hear about cybersecurity threats, attacks, you know, or that. So I feel that the way Indians are so innovative, if this industry comes to India, the level of innovation will increase, which will greatly benefit, you know, the like-minded countries like Middle East, Africa, you know. So yes, primarily it is driven from that fact that it will help billions of not only Indians, but the other people also. And secondly, when this is such a big investment, it will definitely commercially make sense for the investors also, that they will make the money. And I think my partner Pawan will also endorse that. Means he makes a statement that the liquid market or a listed market is primarily driven by the themes. And the current theme for which will last for next 10 years is more about digitization. And India being such a large market, an open market, it will give a handsome returns to the investors also.
So it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation. So both countries will get benefited and investors will also get benefited, and the population will also get benefited with innovative products, local products.
What do you think about growth in this business? I'm sorry, just a repeat question. What do you think about growth in this business? You know, the way Indian entrepreneurs are getting into manufacturing within the country. You know, the Make in India campaign by, you know, by Honorable Prime Minister of India, and at the same time, foreign companies entering into the country, and maybe, you know, there have been, you know, the ecosystem has been provided to them to build, you know, the manufacturing here itself. So what do you think of the growth? Because that's something that's going to be directly proportional to your business. You're going to be raw material for them, right? So I'm saying, you know, so what do you think about that? What's the growth that you see over there, which is going to, you know, where you're going to be one of the fodder for that growth?
No, growth is tremendous. That is what, the moment, you know, you see everybody is moving toward digitization. When you talk about digitization, like you need a input mechanism, you need a storage mechanism. Now it's getting more cloud-based, and then the output mechanism. These three is the hardware piece that is being required. And if an entire thing is going to be digitized, you can imagine that, the kind of servers that is required for the storage part of it, the kind of scanners is required for putting the inputs into the digital cloud. And then in the output perspective, whether it's smartphones or the tablets or laptops and all that. So growth opportunities is tremendous. And I think with more innovations happening on each front, whether in the healthcare sector or the automotive sectors and all that, the numbers can be just, imagined what it could be. So one estimate itself is, $140 billion to $400 billion by next 5 years. That itself is a big number.
Yeah, Hans, let me also add the kind of returns we have seen into the listed space and how we are envisaging going forward about the electronics markets in India. So let me take you just, 20 years back when Indian economy was opened up by then Prime Minister, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. Post that, the biggest returns Indian stock market has given into cement and steel and commodity stocks. They had multiply 2 to 10x. Post that, market went into slump zone, and again then market started moving, and the new theme came up. It was .com in Y2K. So 2, 3, 4 years were everything. Wherever we are having .com, every company was, be it Infosys or Satyam or many companies, Wipro, they has grown like 100x from nowhere, and they are today leading in the market. After that, next theme between 2003 to 2008, before global meltdown happened, 2 prime sectors. One was infrastructure, and second was real estate. So real estate companies has grown like multiple. You take any name, wherever the real estate segment was there, those companies were flying every day 5%, 10% up. So that entire 4-year bull phase between 2003 to 2008 belongs to real estate and infrastructure. Then, because of global meltdown, INR tanked from 42 to 65 to 70. And between 2010 to 2013-14, before new government came in, 2 sectors again, whoever was depending on the export, their income was depending on the exports, were doing fantastic. These were technology companies and pharmaceutical. So if you look at Sun Pharma, which is the leading pharma company, which has gone from $200 to $1,200 in between 2010 to 2014-15. So the same thing we are now seeing that, now we are sensing and we are seeing everywhere, Digital India, Make in India campaign is going on, running on. And lots of companies, global companies, including Apple also is now coming to India to manufacture their handset in India, and they are looking for. So without, industry one-to-one will not perform, but entire ecosystem will make lots of things happen in the country. And we have seen in automobile sector. In 80s, just Maruti came in, and today if you look at, India is the manufacturer of car manufacturing. And we are exporting back to China, back to Japan, which is the originally the main market, leading players. All the automobile companies are from the Japan. But now today we are at this position that we are exporting back to Japan. So same thing we are envisaging in electronics market. Government of India itself is targeting that by 2022, this market can grow up to 400 billion. So anyone's guess that from here, where we are going to head. And the way now transition in economy is happening from paper currency to cashless economy, we can see that, and everything we are having in our hand. Through mobile phone, we can play whatever we want to do. From gaming to now, it's your premier asset. Stock market, mutual funds, insurance companies, banks, aeroplane tickets, railway tickets, bus tickets, cinema hall tickets, everything we can do through this mobile phone. So I think now we are heading to new trajectory, new theme is on the way. We should look at it seriously. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anita here. I have a question to you. Given that we have a future digitalization happening, now you have a feeder fund for 2 billion. Do you see that the appetite for further, funds coming, investors' funds coming into India, you see that happening?
Yeah, that is where, on the advice of IBMC, we have seen that the kind of meetings that they have organized, and we have been interacting with the investors, we are seeing a good, healthy pipeline from them. And the reason why we have set up a feeder fund is to give the extra comfort to those investors in terms of transparency, being very near to the home regulator. And apart from this, from government to government level, we are seeing that UAE and India government is also working on a $75 billion infrastructure fund. So I think there is a big and great alignment between the two countries in terms of opportunity. And it's not just the one way that, our UAE money is going to India and the infrastructure is getting created there. It will benefit both ways, So I would say yes to your question.
Hi, Ajay. Yeah, as this semiconductor industry is totally based on a technology, do you see any disruptive technologies possibility in a near future? Something like before it was on vacuum tubes, then we progressed into IC and semiconductors. Now we're hearing about superconductors and all that. So is there a possibility? Is there a possible disruptive technology on the way?
See, the possibility of disruption is always there. You have more than 7 billion people in the world, and definitely something is happening in any part of the world. The same thing happened in the case of solar space also, that 3-4 years back, thin film technology came over the photovoltaic. And there is an incident that one company called Moza in India, instead of going to photovoltaic, went to thin film. And it so happened that suddenly the prices of photovoltaic crashed, and the thin film technology became irrelevant because of, and that company has to ultimately shut down. So yes, there is a possibility of disruption, and that's why we are moving in 3 phases. We are not putting entire money into one particular technology. And that is where the market study by the Frost & Sullivan is also going to take that factor into account.
So do you have a plan B in space?
We have. That's why we are saying, we will start with the volume numbers. So what we anticipate is that, say, for example, in digital space, the technology nodes is going from, say, 40 nanometers to as low as 5 nanometer.
Yeah.
Okay. But 5 nanometer is a very high-level product when you talk about the iPhone 10 that has come up, or the space technology and all that. So that market would be a smaller one, and that is not the right market that we'll start with. So the market study report from Frost & Sullivan will tell us that what is the low-hanging fruit that we should start with, and once we start walking, then only we'll start running. And yes, ultimately, since the market is that first import substitution and then export substitution, the 3 phases is taking care of all these 3 things.
So do we have that ecosystem which ensure that talent to handle this high-level nanotech in India as of now? Or do you expect that will be developed by the time the fund is being utilized in India?
See, when we have announced this fund, I'm getting mails and calls from hundreds of Indians, technology guys who are sitting in the global companies like Intel, Infineon, Global Foundries, and they are saying that, Mr. Ajay, this is something big that you have embarked on.
Exactly, it is going to be at 10 billion. That's what I came to know about the fund.
Yeah,
the volume is 10 billion.
And they are saying that we have a full support. Next Orbit will get a full support of those technological entrepreneurs from India, and they are guiding us. They are helping us. So last week I was in Singapore, and one of the vice president of a world second largest foundry, who handles almost $5 billion of their account. Okay. He said, he called me up, cold call, and he says, I want to meet you and I want to support you. Indian ecosystem in terms of the education, the IITs, he's from the IIT. He said, India has given us such a big platform that today we are earning millions of dollars as a salary, and we are in our 50s now, we want to give it back. Okay, so in terms of the talent, the Indian talent itself are helping us globally. As far as the technology that you're talking about, yes, the next disruption could be optical semiconductors.
Yeah.
That is also, we have taken consideration into our phase second. We are in discussion with the Stanford University, wherein this research is happening. And as and when this would become commercially available, we are ready to incorporate that into our products.
What if during the age of quantum computing, which is slowly catching up?
Pardon?
The quantum computing.
Yes.
Is there any role?
No, so quantum computing is like, is again the part of our semiconductors, how fast your chip inside, so when we say 40 nanometers and 5 nanometer, it is the processing capability of the chip, okay, which gets translated into the computers, right? So if the semiconductor is capable of that, 5 nanometers or even say 2 nanometer and all that. So supercomputing is one application of semiconductors, apart from hundreds of other applications that is developing. For example, in the healthcare space, the diabetes patches are now available. Recently, I was seeing a video, wherein a 12th class student has made up a heart attack sensor, which will sense the heart attack, 6 hours early and all that. So going forward, instead of a medicine, there will be patches available, and that patch is possible only through semiconductors. So point is, the semiconductor is getting more intelligent, and when you're talking about artificial intelligence or the virtual reality and all that, these are the all capabilities that is getting built up in semiconductor itself. So we are working, as we shared for our ecosystem investments, the technology companies are talking to us to launch a sub-fund under, say, AI space. Now, that AI is possible only on the 2 chips in the world. One is of AMD and another of NVIDIA.
Okay.
And if one of the companies is partnering us for this, effectively it would mean that artificial intelligence will increase, their chip will get more royalties, and ultimately those chips will get manufactured in our foundry. So it's a win-win strategy.
Okay. Thank you.
India is not sort of intelligent students. So let me take you back. When we come up about the telecom, if you remember in 2000, 2003, in that period, Bharti Airtel was the only company at that point in time. They were envisaging that, telecom, if you are not going to communicate with each other, earlier only it was telegram and post office in India, which was just connecting people to people. But the moment around 99 to 2000, when mobile technology came into India, after that, within no time, between 2003 to 2004-05, it was penetrated like crazy. Same thing happened into banking, insurance, mutual fund. Today we are at world class. Yeah, so I'm coming there. Yeah, so I'm coming there, that point. So since we are across the globe meeting with the technocrats, across the globe you take the company name, all across the top level, Indians are sitting, be it Silicon Valley, be it Singapore, be it Malaysia. Everybody is looking to, and they are planning to come back. And we are having proper strategy also, that, top management comes in place, and after that, we are having a tie-up with our technology partners. Middle level and lower level management can be teach at their foundries, across the globe where they are already having set up. And we will be running at virtual foundry in first phase, so that, the moment we are having our foundry setup ready, we will send them to their foundry at their, wherever the foundry is there. And after 1 year, once the technology is set up in India and proper foundry setup is there, those guys will come back, and second load we will send there for their training. So we are having proper our plan how to take it forward, because this is not the easy technology. This is not the just building the road, port, or traditional things. This is a complex technology, and without proper planning, we cannot move ahead. So it will take between 2 to 3 years to set up a proper foundry in the country from the day we lay down the stone.
And our technology partners will be handholding these projects. So they have equity stake also, and initially they will be running the fab. And the discussions that is happening with them is also that they'll buy back, say, 25% or up to 50% of the products back from that. So,
I'm afraid we have to call it as the last question, because we have lunch that is going to be served very shortly. We'll have a 45-minute break, but before we break for lunch, of course, I'd like to felicitate Mr. Ajay Jalan. It's been a stupendous success story. I think, the sky's the limit with Next Orbit Ventures, and with artificial intelligence and semiconductors, I think there will be no full stops. Congratulations. Mr. Sajid, please. I have it 2:30, so we convene back at 3:15. All right. See you all shortly, and stay tuned. Don't eat too much. No, you must. It's been a long morning. Thank you for your patience, the questions, the attention, and most of all, your presence. Thank you. See you shortly. Bye-bye.
UAE. IBMC Financial Professionals Group. UAE-India B2B Centre, the gateway of international business and investments.